Good afternoon, boys and girls. My name is Miss science-LatchwanttieJainarine, and this is my colleague,
Miss Raashana Dalchand.
Now today we're doing a very interesting topic, and the topic is digestion. We will learn the process of digestion, the function, and the part of the digestion system.
And why the digestion is important.
So, Miss Raashana will be giving you more details as to what is digestion.
So class, like Miss Jainarine said, I'm going to guide you through the definition and I'm going to explain to you in further details what is digestion. Now, I know most of you heard about digestion before. I know most of you have a little understanding about digestion. In fact, you probably heard it in your home, your community. You know, like you would ask, or when you would ask your father or your mother to do something, or your brother to do something, and it would be like, wait, the food have to digest? Right. That is what they mean. They mean this whole process the food have to be digest. Right? It has to work properly before they could get up to do anything. That's what they mean. Let me by the raise of hand, let me see all those who can tell me what they know or what they can tell by digestion. Digestion is the settling of food. Yes, Michaela. Mark is saying digestion is when the food passes through as defecation. You're correct. But with the food being digested, you have to pass it out as feces. That's going to be the waste material of digestion, right? But before you to pass out this feces, something must take place before you can go to the washroom, the defecate or urinate, and that something is digestion. Okay. Digestion, I will read for you. It is a process where we eat food in our mouth that receives nutrients, supplements as it enters in our body. Digestion is the breakdown of food into smaller molecules. What this here is saying is that digestion is breaking down of the food into smaller liquid-like molecules. Because you ever wanted to know why is it when you eat especially chicken and those nice heavy food and fried rice and macaroni and cheese, you see how these foods look solid and big? When you chew them up, they turn like liquid. A typical example, when you would vomit or when you would get upset or you probably turn sick and you would bring up your food, do you see your food come up in the same exact form it was that you had it before? No, it comes up in a liquid-like structure. It comes up very liquidy-like. Yes, very thick and liquidy, Mark, correct. So all of that, the food has to be chewed up properly, right? With the help of our healthy teeth. That's why it's very important to drink milk. Good. With the help of our teeth to chew up our food, that is how it turns into liquid. Correct. Good. So somebody is asking me, Michaela is asking me, how do we feel hungry? Good question, Michaela. Now, you ever pass by a Chinese restaurant or you pass by a pizza place or KFC or Churches or Popeyes, and the smell alone make you want to go in and eat what the people have got? And you ever feel like you, as some people will say, dribbling? And your parents or your grandparents or your friends might say, oh, lele leak, or your lele water leaking. Right, the correct term for it is saliva. It is saliva. Right, that is the right word for it. And saliva comes from a part in our mouth by our jaw. There's a salivary gland that produces saliva. Saliva is a liquid, it's like watery liquid. That when we chew, that helps us to swallow our food, and that helps us to make our food into liquid. Without saliva and we chew the food, it's not going to go down smooth through your esophagus. As we can see, we have the parts of the digestive system here, but Miss Latchwantie is going to go in very details and tiny details to you. But let me tell you this. Saliva is important, is one of the important parts of digestion. So without that, we know that, it cannot be mixed up with the food and what's not. We have the mouth as well. The mouth plays an important part in digestion, because if we don't eat, there's nothing to be digested. So if you see a nice apple, or you see a nice piece of cake even, you eat it, and with the process of chewing and the saliva mixing, it calls the bolus. That's why the food is mixed up into the saliva and cause the liquid-like structure, the molecule. It goes down your throat as the bolus. That's the ball that your food is turning into. Now we have the stomach. That is one part of the digestive system. Most of you, Diane is saying that she knows digestion happens from the mouth and goes through the stomach. Yes, stomach is one part that helps in digestion. But all these parts here, they have to cooperate with each other. They have to help out each other, just like the mouth. After you would have chew up your food, the salivary gland has to help the food to turn into the liquid. Then after the food is chewed up into the liquid, it has to come down the esophagus. So all of these things have their own role to play, because without the mouth, the food cannot come down here. Without the esophagus, you can't get the food into the stomach. Are we clear? Good. So you have a fair understanding as to how digestion works. Now, we have the different parts. We have the mouth, the salivary gland, the windpipe, the esophagus, the stomach. As you can see, the pancreas, the small intestines. We have the large intestines, we have the liver, right? So whenever you chew on your food and whenever you feel hungry, you decide to eat, do you ever think that, or you ever feel that you can swallow food just like that? No, you cannot. You cannot swallow the food. You have to chew it. It's a must. You have to do it. The only thing you can swallow without chewing is liquid, like water, tea, and stuff like that. And you know what they say? That's why it is very important to drink water, because water is it's liquid like something. It helps your digestion even faster, because it helps to flush out whatever food or whatever waste material you might get in your body. It helps in that. So that's why we see it's important to drink a lot of water. Right? Any more questions before I hand you over to Miss Latchwantie? Okay, so my colleague Latchwantie is going to explain to you the function of these parts, and that his mother taught him that digestion takes place in 4 ways. Yes, Mike, you are right. Digestion happens, there are 4 steps in digestion. We have the ingestion, we have the mechanical and the chemical breakdown, we have the nutrients absorption, and we have the passing out of the feces. So let me quickly brief you on these. The ingestion is when you're taking in of the food. When somebody says to ingest something, it means to take in. The chemical and mechanical breakdown of food, as you can see, the mechanical breakdown is when you chew it with the help of your jaw, your teeth, and everything. That's the mechanical helping, the mechanical breaking down of food. The chemical breakdown of the food is when the food would have come down the esophagus and goes into your stomach with the help of the gastric juice and other juices like pancreatic juice, the bile, and everything. Those are the chemical breakdown of food. Then we have the absorption of nutrients. Now, when you eat food, you know, in the last class we looked at food groups and their type. Good, and we said that chicken, fish, and eggs are proteins, and when you eat that, you get proteins. Protein is one of the nutrients that you would have gotten if you would consume or you would have ingested chicken, right? So that's what they meant when they say that nutrients are absorbed through this part of the body. Then we have the passing out of the feces, as some of you might say defecation. Now, that is when your food would have come through or take place here. That is the waste material, the waste product that is absorbed and that is stored in the large intestines, and then it comes through the anus. So that's it. That's what I'm going to tell you about digestion. Miss Latchwantie is going to guide you through the process of digestion. Over to you, Miss.
Okay, boys and girls, I will be going in more details about the functions of the digestive system. Now, before I get into more details, I would like every one of you to please observe this diagram here for me. And please identify some parts. Yes, Joel, there is a mouth. Yes, Kimberly, the salivary gland. Yes, Jessica, the windpipe. And yes, Toyraj, the esophagus. Now, I would like every one of you to please, before we get into more details, to please, by the show of a hand, please tell me where you think the process of digestion begins. In the mouth. That is absolutely right. Now, I would like every one of you now to please imagine that you're passing next to a KFC. You're smelling that finger-licking delicious chicken. You're passing next to churches. Or you're at home and mommy prepared that delicious stewed chicken for you. And you're eating that food. And you cannot wait. Now what start to form into your mouth? Saliva. So we can say the process of digestion begins in the mouth. And it begins even if we did not even place those food in our mouth. Now, the mouth is where the digestion begins, where the teeth break. The mechanic digestion begins in the mouth, where the teeth break down the food into bits and bits. So when the teeth break down the food into bits and bits, it is mixed with saliva from the salivary gland, and it is formed into moist, and it becomes more easier to swallow. When it forms into that moisty structure, it is formed into a ball shape, and that ball shape is called the bolus. Now when that process finished, the food is pushed at the back of the tongue. Here is where the food is pushed, at the back of the tongue. Now before the food gets down to the esophagus, there is a windpipe. To prevent the food from getting down into the windpipe, there is a part called the epiglottis. The epiglottis there is like a flap. It closes down and it opens. So let me say, for instance, you were drinking water. When you are drinking the water, you hurry to drink that water to go outside to play. And you hurry and you hurry and you hurry. When you hurry, the water goes down into it does not go down to the esophagus. It goes to the windpipe and you will start to choke. Absolutely right to your heart. You will start to choke because it went down to the wrong pipe. It had to go down to the esophagus. Now the esophagus is a long, stretchy pipe. Just like how in your home there is gutter so the water can be taken out from your receiver, just like the esophagus, it is used to take down the food into your body. Now the esophagus is where the food, the bolus of the food is rolled down. When it rolls, it does not roll down just like that. The esophagus have to move in a wavy like to slowly push that food through the esophagus. Now just say you're eating something. Just pretend you're eating something. Now let that food goes down your throat. You can see that your esophagus move in a wavy way, so that the food can goes down. Now when you're eating food, you have to take your time and eat your food, because the process of where the food is going down your esophagus take about 2 to 3 minutes. So you cannot rush to eat your food. Now just at home, like when mommy is washing weird and she make any food get in the gutter, and if the gutter will start to choke. Just like when you're having food and you keep on eating very quickly, you will start to choke. Correct, Kimberly? You will start to choke. So you have to take your time to eat your food and make sure that it goes down very in a wavy-like way and slowly. Do not rush to eat your food, because if you rush, you can choke like that. After the food has finished passed down the esophagus, it goes to the stomach. And we say the stomach crunch and mash together all the food into a soup-like mixture that is mixed with gastric juice. Now the gastric juice, the stomach here is like a mixture. You know, mommy have blender at home, where before she get the liquid from the cherry juice, she have to blend it. That's the same work the stomach is performing. When the food comes down into the ball-like shape, the stomach is smashing and crunching that food into a soup-like stage. And the gastric juice from the stomach contain hydrochloric acid, which kills any bacteria that is present in the food. So if you eat any food and there was any bacteria present on the food, the gastric juice contains the hydrochloric acid, which kills any bacteria present. Once that process is completed, the food goes down to the small intestine, where the absorption takes place. You say the small intestine break down the food mixture even more. So it goes down into a soup-like stage, yes, but it breaks down that liquid into a more mixture stage. And your body absorbs all the nutrients. So that chicken curry that you had for lunch with rice, that chicken that contains protein, and that rice that contains carbohydrate, right here is where this absorption of the nutrient takes place. After that process is complete, don't think that the small intestine does not assist alone. It have helper. The pancreas will break down, will send juice, receive juice from the liver, which break down the fats and protein and other nutrients. After you finish there, the unwanted waste come through the large intestine. And that is to say, the large intestine is where the process of digestion ends. So digestion is complete there. And the waste of the food is passed through the anus as feces. So that is the process there of the function and how the process of digestion takes place in your body.
Thank you, Miss Jainarine. That was well explained, and I trust that all of you would have understand and all of you would understand and internalize what Miss is saying, as she would have given us all the definition and the function of the parts and what it does to our body and how the foods are being passed on from one part to another. Now, with that being said, I am going to tell you the importance of digestion and why is it that what we could do to improve our digestion. So let me tell you the importance of digestion. Digestion is very important to us, to anybody, because if we do not digest our food, or our food is not properly digested, we would not be, we would not be healthy, right? We would have some effects like constipation. Sometimes we would get we will fall ill. We might even fall ill. So it is very important, because if our food cannot be if it cannot come down the esophagus, it means that something is wrong there. That's why it's very important to chew your food. You know, old people might say chew your food 32 times. Right. I know most of you don't chew your food 32 times, but it is very important to chew your food very fine, so it will be easy to digest your food. Also, they said to drink a lot of water. It is believed that water is very good for a proper digestion, because not only it helps you to digest your food, but it cleans your inside, and it helps you to pass out the waste material like feces faster. Okay, now I'm going to tell you how you can improve your digestion. You can improve your digestion by taking in a lot of water. Eat a lot of watery fruits like watermelon, pine. We have grapes, we have apple, to give your digestive system a good balance. So with all of these healthy nutrients coming from these food and these different kinds of food groups, you can be able to get a proper system. You can be able to gain nutrients in your body. You can fight back diseases. You can fight bacteria. As Miss rightly said, that the stomach is very acidic and it fights disease. In this pandemic, when we have something like coronavirus going on, and one of the ads that they showed us that we must drink a lot of water to keep our throat moist. Well, let me tell you why. Because when you drink a lot of water, and let's say if the virus has to come, that's why you always have to sanitize your hand, right? I'm just giving you an example how it relates to this topic. So if you have to sanitize your hand, that means the bacteria passing from your hand going on. If you gotta get the virus from somebody else and take a fruit and put it in your mouth, the virus gone into your system, right? They are telling you, the World Health Organization is giving us tips that we could drink water to moisten the throat. So with the constantly drinking of water would flush the virus down. And when the virus is flushed down to the stomach, these different acidic substances and chemical is going to fight this virus, and we're going to pass it out as feces. So that is what Miss is trying to say to us when she's saying that the stomach helps to fight bacteria. Indeed it does, because anything that comes through your system here, as long as go through your stomach, you have to pass it out, because it's all process of digestion. Exercise regularly is very good as well. Push-ups, sit-ups, to get your body active and working, to get your abdominal areas working, so that you can get a proper digestive tract. So for today, we learn about what is digestion from scratch. We learned about the functions of digestion. We learned, Miss explained to you the process of how digestion occurs. We know the importance of digestion. We know what we can do to improve our digestion, right? So now that we know all of these, Miss is going to give you an activity to cover off the lesson for today. I now hand you over to Miss LatchwanttieJainarine.
Now this afternoon I will have an activity to give you all, and I would like every one of you to please form into groups of 4. Okay? Jessica group is group A. So thank you, Miss Raashana, for that information. I hope you all have learned a lot on how to improve your digestion and take into hands on what type of food you must eat and why you must drink water, and why those types of fruits that Miss mentioned, the watermelon and those types of the papaya are very important, because they help in the process of your food to be digested, right? Now, before, I would like every one of you to please form into groups of 4. I'll give you a minute. Okay. Group A is Toy group. Group B is Michaela group. Group C is Yoansi group. And group D is Aklima group. Now, here is how the game works. When I ask you a question, and if you cannot identify the parts, the question goes to another group where they could gain another full marks. Now I will get started. So your Raj group, what organ is shown at 2? Yes, Brian. What organ is shown at 2? The mouth. You're absolutely correct. So 1 point goes to group A. Group B. You have to go to the next function of the digestive system. We look at every function of the digestive system internally, inside our body. We look at the mouth. We say the mouth is where the mechanic digestion begins. Yes, right, where the teeth break the food up, break down the food. Absolutely right. And the food is mixed with salivary gland. That is absolutely right, Jennifer. And what happens when the food is mixed with salivary gland? The food is more easier for it to go down there. Which part? The esophagus. Absolutely right, Isaiah. Then we look at the stomach. We say the stomach is like a mixer. It mixes up all the food into a soup-like stage. That is right. Then we look at the small intestine. We say the small intestine is where the absorption of the nutrient takes place. Then we look at the large intestine and the anus, where the process ends at the large intestine, and the anus, where the anus passes out the food waste as feces. Now I hope you have gained a lot today, and I hope everybody understands everything. Thank you very much. Boys and girls, now this afternoon I will have an
Miss, don't say good afternoon again.